So who was with you this weekend?
A bunch of my friends.
Diddy, Quincy, Justin Bieber, so far French Montana.
The place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop.
It was legit crazy scary. I was waking up in the morning and the first thing I was doing is popping pills and smoking a blunt and starting my day.
Probably not public information yet, but who's the person that's number one on that invitation list?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I think half the people there were butt naked. You would have loved it.
You know, he wants to hang out with you next week, and I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to
enjoy life. This is a celebration of life.
Well, you're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to puffy camp?
Hell no.
Get extra comfortable, kids.
So, can't tell that one either. I mean, like actually cycling through them.
the things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever. You gave up your man card.
They won't even give me a permit for the parties, man. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. But we ain't gonna stop. We gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You gonna hear about my party. They're gonna be shutting them down. They're gonna probably be arresting me.
Let's cut the bullshit and get straight to the point. For decades, the music industry has been a polished veneer hiding a sewer system of exploitation. And right now, the manhole cover has been blown wide open. We aren't just talking about a few bad parties. We are talking about a systemic machine of debauchery that chewed up icons and spit out traumatized survivors. So, who was really with Diddy during those lost weekends? The list reads like a roll call for the Hall of Fame: Quincy Jones, Diddy, and a wide-eyed, innocent Justin Bieber. Looking back at the footage now, it's not just nostalgic, it is legitimately terrifying. Justin himself admitted it. He was waking up in the morning, and before he even brushed his teeth, he was popping pills and smoking blunts just to start his day. That isn't rock star living, that is survival mode. Everyone loves a good party story, right? It's our favorite genre of celebrity anecdote. But watch Ashton Kutcher's face when he's asked about Diddy's parties. He shuts down. "I've got a lot I can't tell," he says. "I can't sell that one either." He's cycling through memories, trying to find one that won't incriminate him or someone else. That isn't discretion, that is fear. Usher was just a child when he was sent to live in this madness. He admits he was curious. He wanted to see the lifestyle. But what did a 13-year-old actually see? He saw things he couldn't indulge in, things he couldn't even comprehend. He calls it pretty wild, but let's read between the lines. He walked into rooms filled with the kind of depravity that steals your soul. Denzel Washington gave the best advice to anyone entering that circle: leave 30 minutes before the devil gets there. But for some of these kids, the devil was the landlord. Will Smith talks about Diddy courting him, begging for acting lessons, just staring at him with a predatory gaze, trying to get him to hang out. For what? It wasn't about the music, it wasn't about the acting, it was about the recruitment. It was about pulling fresh meat into the grinder. But it's over. The era of protecting Sean Diddy Combs is dead and buried. For years, Justin Bieber tried to keep his demons on a leash, focusing on Jesus and his marriage. But we all saw the spiral. We saw him lashing out, looking like a ghost of himself. Now the pieces of the puzzle fit together in a horrifying picture. He isn't just speaking for himself anymore. His silence is loud, and his trauma is screaming on behalf of everyone who was silenced, drugged, manipulated, and forced into acts they can't scrub from their memories. Remember the Lamborghini? Diddy promised a teenage Justin a Lamborghini. "When is that coming?" Justin asked, desperate for approval from the King of New York. It was never about the car, it was about the leverage. According to those close to the situation, this wasn't the work of one lone wolf. This was a network, a spiderweb of celebrities, producers, and executives who either participated in the carnage or turned a blind eye to it. Some were victims who became victimizers to survive. Justin is reportedly ready to burn the whole house down. He's ready to name names, people you admire, people you trust, people who stood next to Diddy at the Grammys and smiled while knowing exactly what was happening in the VIP rooms. "What's up, man? You good?" Diddy asks in those old clips. "You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to." That is the sound of a predator realizing his prey has grown up and slipped the leash. Inside the courtroom, the air is thick with panic. During jury selection for Diddy's trial in New York, prosecutors dropped a bomb, a list of over 100 names. This isn't a guest list for the Met Gala. This is a list of potential witnesses and accomplices. We are talking Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, the Kardashians, Mike Myers. Do they know half the people they are naming? Probably not, but the fact that their names are even in the binder proves how deep the rot goes. Jennifer Lopez, who once carried Diddy's gun in her purse, metaphorically or literally, joked about staying up all night. I haven't been to bed yet. Of course not. At a Diddy party, sleep is the enemy. Half the people there were butt naked, Diddy bragged. You would have loved it. While these A-listers aren't all charged with crimes, their proximity to the blast zone is damning. Cassie's name echoes in the courtroom, alongside Danny Kane's Don Richard, brave women who have detailed abuse that sounds like something out of a horror movie. Diddy's legal team denies it all, but the dam has broken. And then there's Justin Bieber, dragged back into the headlines, not as a perpetrator, but as the tragic figure of the story. The internet is dissecting that old footage with a forensic lens. Diddy tells the camera, he's having 48 hours with Diddy. We can't really disclose what we're doing, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. He practically licks his lips. He says, I have been given custody of him. Think about that word, custody, not guardianship, possession. He possessed Usher, and then he possessed Bieber. Justin's team released a statement saying he wasn't abused by Diddy, but he saw the damage. He supports the victims. Note what he didn't say. He didn't call Diddy innocent. He didn't say alleged. Justin knows where the bodies are buried because he was handed a shovel. Let's not forget the age factor. Justin was 13. Usher was a child. Diddy had unfettered access to minors, and the industry applause machine kept clapping. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather the rhino, Jay-Z. While Diddy is getting torn apart, Jay-Z moves like a phantom, but his name was dragged into the light in a civil lawsuit filed in October. An anonymous plaintiff claimed that in the year 2000, at a VMA afterparty, she was assaulted by Diddy and another male celebrity. She was 13. She claimed she was given a drink that put her on the floor, and in a bedroom, 2 men and a female celebrity assaulted her. When the complaint was amended in December, that second man was named Sean Jay-Z Carter. Jay's team went on the offensive immediately. These allegations are so heinous. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. He played the family card, mourning the loss of innocence. And then, magically, on February 14, 2024, Valentine's Day, the lawsuit vanished, dismissed with prejudice. In legal terms, with prejudice means it's over, dead, can't be brought back. For the uninitiated, in the world of billionaires, this often screams settlement. We don't know if money changed hands, but we know the problem went away. While Diddy's empire crumbles, Jay's remains fortified by billions of dollars and silence. Was the plaintiff pressured? Did the weight of fighting a god of the industry crush her? We will likely never know, but Jay-Z walks away with his reputation officially clean while the streets continue to whisper. The reason so many people were caught in this web is because Puffy was the gatekeeper. He held the keys to the kingdom. In the 90s, if you wanted to be Biggie, if you wanted to be Mary J. Blige, you had to go through Puffy. L.A. Reid, the heavy-hitter executive, literally sent a teenage Usher to live at Puffy Flavor Camp. Think about the insanity of that, sending a boy to live in a bachelor pad that Usher himself described to Howard Stern as being filled with orgies. You'd open a door and see several people in a room doing it. That wasn't a mentorship, it was an exposure to hell. Mary J. Blige, the queen of hip-hop soul, has kept her mouth shut, but her Instagram spoke volumes. I burn bridges as needed, right as the raids were happening. She lived with this man. She knows the layout of the house. She knows where the cameras were. And then there are the famous white parties, the Hamptons, the luxury, the exclusivity. Diddy on the mic, sweating, telling the crowd, we fed y'all, we gave y'all drinks, now it's time to enjoy life. But then came the warning, the pivot point. To all the kids, y'all have like an hour left. After that, y'all got to go. It's a wrap for y'all. Why? Because the freak-off was about to begin, because what happened after dark wasn't for the eyes of the innocent, although, based on the allegations, innocence was often on the menu. Damon Dash, who has hated Diddy for decades, clarified his stance. I went to one party with Aaliyah 20 years ago, that's it. And let's not ignore the photo of Aaliyah, 19 years old, laying in a bed at that party, surrounded by older men. It makes your skin crawl. The guest lists for these parties are a who's who of Hollywood: Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Pharrell, Kanye, Cardi B, Post Malone. They were all there. Mariah Carey in a wedding dress, Drake and The Weeknd partying while Diddy changed into silk pajamas to signal the shift in the night's energy. It is becoming painfully clear that not everyone was blind. You don't go to a slaughterhouse and pretend you don't see the blood. Whether it was blackmail, fear, or just the desire to stay relevant, the silence was a currency, and everyone was paying up. The allegations are getting darker, deeper, and nastier, spiraling into an abyss that makes the initial headlines look like a Disney movie. We aren't just talking about parties anymore. We are dissecting a sophisticated criminal enterprise masked as a record label. We are talking about Harve Pierre, the bad boy president, who is now being painted not just as an executive, but as the president of pain, allegedly acting as the architect of abuse alongside his boss. We are talking about R&B singer Aaron Hall, a legend whose legacy is currently being rewritten in ink made of blood and trauma. These aren't just bad dates or regrettable nights. These are violent, calculated crimes buried under decades of ironclad NDAs, payouts, and mafia-style intimidation. One woman claims that back in the 90s, she and a friend were assaulted by both Diddy and Hall in a tag team of terror. But that was just the warm-up. Another lawsuit, filed as recently as December 2023, paints a picture so bleak it turns your stomach inside out. It accuses Diddy, Harve Pierre, and a third man of gang raping a 17-year-old high school girl in 2003. Let's be crystal clear. They didn't just meet her, they hunted her. Pierre allegedly groomed her in a lounge like a predator stalking a fawn, and then Diddy flew her out on a private jet like she was nothing more than cargo. They took her to Daddy's house, the recording studio that was supposed to be a sanctuary for art, but was allegedly functioning as a soundproof torture chamber. This wasn't a party, it was an extraction of innocence. She was given alcohol and drugged until her body went limp and she couldn't fight back. She was passed around like a blunt. She woke up in a different state, her body violated with memory gaps that have haunted her for 20 years. That is not rock and roll, that is human trafficking. And with new Jane Doe plaintiffs emerging from the woodwork every month, the question isn't if there are more victims, but how many hundreds of them are still too terrified to speak. And then there is Rodney Lil Rod. Unlike the celebrities hiding behind their publicists and lawyers, Lil Rod came with receipts, audio recordings, and he came for blood. He lived in Diddy's house. He saw the beast up close for a year while working on The Love album, a title that now feels like a sick, twisted joke played on the public. Rodney's lawsuit isn't just a complaint, it is a forensic roadmap to hell. He claims Diddy groped him repeatedly, treating him like personal property. He describes Diddy walking around exposing himself like a king who owns his subjects, forcing Rod to watch him shower and demanding he procure sex workers for the night's festivities. Diddy dangled a Grammy Award in front of him like a carrot, implying that if Rodney wanted the gold, he had to prostitute his morals and his body. The most vile allegation, Jones claims he was sexually assaulted by a cousin of Diddy's girlfriend, Young Miami, right in Diddy's living room. And what did Diddy do? He didn't call the cops. He didn't stop it. He and his staff allegedly watched, treating the assault of a man like a spectator sport. Rodney didn't just name Diddy, he named the entire machine. He named Diddy's son, Justin Dior Combs, implicating the next generation in the sins of the father. He named the chief of staff. He even took a shot at the titans of the industry, naming Universal Music Group and Lucian Grange in the original filing, essentially saying, you all knew who you were funding. While the big corporate giants were eventually dropped from the suit, the message was sent. You cannot build a billion-dollar empire on the backs of victims without the suits at the top smelling the stench. Rodney also spilled the tea on a shooting in a recording studio involving Diddy and his son, a violent episode where a man was allegedly shot and Diddy orchestrated a cover-up in real time. In Diddy's world, bullets disappear just like people do. And let's not forget the terrifying detail about the cameras. Rodney alleges Diddy had hidden cameras everywhere, recording every freak-off, every line of coke, every illicit act. This means Diddy wasn't just partying, he was building an archive of blackmail material on half the industry. Then we have Don Richard. If you watched MTV's Making the Band, you thought you were watching The American Dream. In reality, you were watching a cult indoctrination televised for ratings. Dawn's lawsuit rips the mask off that entire era. She described being starved, sleep-deprived, and psychologically broken down until she didn't know which way was up. Diddy wasn't a mentor, he was a tormentor. He allegedly barged into dressing rooms to grope her during fittings, treating her body as part of his inventory. He summoned her to meetings where he sat in nothing but his underwear, a classic power move designed to humiliate, sexualize, and dominate a professional environment. But it gets worse. Dawn claims she was a witness to the brutality inflicted on Cassie. She saw the violence, she saw the aftermath, and when she tried to stand up for herself at Sir Studios in 2010, Diddy allegedly tried to punch her in the face. When she didn't fold, he and Harve Pierre reportedly locked her in a car for 2 hours. False imprisonment, kidnapping, call it what you want, but that is the behavior of a mob boss, not a music executive. And where were the gatekeepers? Where were the good guys? Dawn points a finger directly at Jimmy Iovine, the legend of Interscope Records. She alleges he was in the room when Diddy punched Cassie in the stomach. Did he call the cops? Did he end the partnership? No, according to the lawsuit, he secured the bag. He protected the investment and let the girl take the hit. That is the cold, hard reality of the music business. Money screams and victims are silenced. Now, let's look at the women who stood by him. Young Miami, aka Carisha. She played the role of the ride-or-die girlfriend, hosting him on her show, smiling for the cameras and enjoying the lifestyle. When the allegations started dropping, she tried to moonwalk away from the blast zone, claiming, "That wasn't my experience." But the lawsuits suggest otherwise. One plaintiff claims Carisha wasn't just a bystander, she was an enforcer. The lawsuit alleges she harassed a woman who became pregnant with Diddy, making aggressive phone calls demanding an abortion until the stress caused a miscarriage. Even darker, Carisha is accused of being a drug mole, allegedly transporting pink cocaine, a mixture of ecstasy and ketamine, for the mogul. We are talking about international drug trafficking allegations here. It seems Carisha found out the hard way that when you dance with the devil, you don't get to sit out the song when the music stops. With the feds now involved, her city girl summer might turn into a federal winter. And finally, we have to talk about Hollywood. The A-listers, the golden boys. The panic in the hills is palpable. Ashton Kutcher, America's heartthrob. He co-hosted The White Party in 2009. Watch his interview on Hot Ones again. When asked about Diddy's parties, he doesn't laugh. He looks terrified. "I've got a lot I can't tell," he stammers. Diddy party stories, man, that was some weird memory lane thing. His silence in that moment wasn't about protecting a friend. It was about self-preservation. What did he see that was so unspeakable he couldn't even joke about it while eating chicken wings? Was it the IV drips? The underage girls? Because let's talk about what the feds found when they raided Diddy's homes. They didn't just find guns. They found 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Let that sink in. You don't buy 1,000 bottles of lube for a party. You buy that for an industrial sex trafficking operation. The freak-offs weren't parties, they were endurance sports of abuse that allegedly lasted for days, requiring IV fluids to keep the victims and the perpetrators awake and performing. The white parties were legendary, but not for the reasons Vogue told you. We're talking about parties where food was reportedly served off the bodies of naked women. Parties attended by Bruce Willis, Will Smith, and Leonardo DiCaprio. Ah, Leo, the Wolf of Wall Street himself. A photo of him at a 1998 white party has resurfaced, and his team is scrambling to scrub the internet, issuing denials that he has nothing to do with that world. But Diddy called him his #1 guest. You don't get the VIP treatment from a sexual predator by leaving early to read a script. While being at a party isn't a crime, the company you keep defines you. These celebrities enjoyed the access, the excess, and the power that Diddy radiated. They drank his champagne and laughed at his jokes, while just a few rooms away, lives were allegedly being destroyed. Some of these stars might have been oblivious, sure, but ignorance is a convenient defense when the feds are knocking. Others likely heard the whispers, the screams, and chose to turn up the music. In the end, this isn't just about Diddy. It's about an entire ecosystem of enablers, cowards, and opportunists who helped build a monster because it benefited them. Diddy didn't build this empire of abuse alone. He had help. He had silence. And now, as the walls come crashing down, everyone from the recording booth to the Hollywood Hills is checking their text messages, deleting their emails, and praying they aren't next on the indictment list. The feds have the tapes, they have the hard drives, and if Rodney Jones is right, they have footage of some of your favorite heroes doing things that will cancel them forever. So what do you think? Is this just the tip of the iceberg, or is the whole ship about to sink? Drop a comment below and let us know who you think is shaking in their boots right now. If you want the truth that the mainstream media is too scared to tell you, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We uncover the secrets your favorite celebrities are dying to keep buried. Stay tuned.
I got on a plane at 5:30 a.m. Go to this party. I think half the people there were butt naked. You would have loved it.
I'm sure that's probably not public information yet, but who's the person that's #1 on that invitation list?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
And I can get on that list,
yes,
right?
Without a doubt, you are invited.
That is so generous of you. Cheers to that.
See you at the white party.
Me and y'all should be extra tight. Okay, we gonna have DJ Cassidy right now get on the ones and twos. We fed y'all, we gave y'all some drinks, now it's time to enjoy life. This is a celebration of life. This is a legendary white party. It's the real white party. Make some noise if you've been here before. Okay. And to all the kids have like an hour left. So get extra comfortable, kids, because after that, y'all gotta go. It's a wrap for y'all, because this thing turns into something that when y'all get older, y'all don't want to come to. Okay? So, let's just start to get our groove on a little bit. In an hour, we put the kids away, it's all good. Hey, DJ, let's hit it. Let's do it. Come on.
With that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here is men.
The hottest ticket around.
They won't even give me a permit for the parties, man. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. But we ain't gonna stop. We're gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You're gonna hear about my party. They're gonna be shutting them down. They're gonna probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we wanna have a good time. you know, whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that broaden people's horizon, people get intimidated. There's a lot of people out there that feel intimidated by it. It ain't nothing but breaking down racial barriers, breaking down generation barriers. People from all walks of life. Ron Perlman talking to Jay-Z, Jay-Z talking to, you know what I'm saying? It just goes on and on. You know, it's just like people from all walks of life connecting and getting together. Yeah.
Your parties are the hottest ticket in town. People dying to get into your party. How does that make you feel?
I mean, it's cool. You know, it doesn't make me feel any way special. It doesn't make me feel like a bigger person. It just makes me feel like I know how to throw a party.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I
Come
mean,
on.
but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle,
Right.
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, you know, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans,
And your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And what do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem.
Yeah.
I had like, you know,
What
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.